I'm Jennifer, 62. Sitting here in my opulent penthouse, looking out at the city skyline, it's hard to believe how far I've come from the heartbreak and betrayal I once endured. Just months ago, I was cast out of my own home like a pariah, my worth reduced to nothing in the eyes of my husband's family. But now, I stand here, a woman reborn, ready to share my story. My husband, Henry, was a kind and gentle man. We'd been married for 35 years, and I'd thought we had built a loving family together. However, on the day of his funeral, I witnessed a side of his children that I'd never seen before. His son, Ryan, from his first marriage, and Ryan's wife, Lily, along with Henry's daughter, Ava, and her husband, Jake, gathered around me with cold, calculating looks in their eyes. Lily, in particular, was the ringleader of this cruel charade. She'd married Ryan just 4 years ago, and from the start, she'd made it clear that she saw me as an interloper, a gold digger who'd married Henry for his money. Little did they know that Henry's money was but a fraction of what I truly owned. After the funeral, as the guests left and I was alone in the kitchen, loading the dishwasher with shaking hands, Lily and the others approached me. "That's it then," Lily announced sharply. "It's time you left. This house and everything else are for the family, not for you." I turned around, my heart breaking. "Lily, this is my home too. I've been here for years, taking care of Henry, of all of you." She scoffed. "You've done nothing but leech off Henry. You've never worked, never contributed. It's time to face reality. You're 62, you need to find a smaller place." I was stunned. After all the years of love and support I'd given, this was how they repaid me. But instead of lashing out, I took a deep breath and said, "Okay, I'll pack my things." That night, I packed 2 suitcases and left the house I'd called home for so long. I checked into a small, anonymous motel under my maiden name, Jennifer Thompson. I felt invisible, discarded, but deep down, I knew I had a secret weapon. I'd inherited a fortune from my first husband, who'd passed away when I was 37. Real estate investments, stocks, and a successful business that I'd quietly managed over the years. Henry and I had decided to keep it a secret, to let him be seen as the provider, the successful man of the family. The next morning, I called my long-time attorney, Robert. He'd been with me through thick and thin, and he knew the truth about my wealth. "Robert, I need your help. The family is trying to push me out," I said. He replied calmly, "Don't worry, Jennifer. Everything is legally yours. We can start the process right away." Over the next few days, while Lily and the others were busy dividing up what they thought was Henry's estate, I was making calls from my motel room. I spoke with my property managers, investment advisors, and bankers, making arrangements to assert my rightful ownership. 3 days later, I received a call from Robert. They've hired an attorney and are requesting a formal reading of Henry's will.
"They want you there," he said.
I smiled. "I'll be there. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time." That weekend, I went shopping, choosing a sophisticated black suit and elegant jewelry. I wanted to look like the powerful woman I was, not the meek widow they'd underestimated. On the day of the will reading, I arrived at the attorney's office early. As I sat in the waiting room, I could hear Lily and the others arguing in the next room. "Why does she even need to be here?"
"She's nothing," Lily was saying.
I sat quietly, my hands folded, waiting for the moment to reveal the truth. When the door opened and we entered the conference room, the looks on their faces were priceless. They were dressed in expensive suits, expecting to inherit everything, while I was about to shatter their illusions. The attorney began reading the will. "To my beloved children, Ryan, Ava, I leave the sum of $30,000 each," he said. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Ryan leaned forward. "That can't be right. Dad would have left us more." Then came the part they dreaded. "To my dear wife, Jennifer Thompson, Henry, I leave the remainder of my estate, including all properties, investments, and business interests, to be hers absolutely and without restriction." The room fell silent. Lily stood up, her face red with anger. "This is a mistake. She never earned any of this." She was just there. I stood up slowly and said, "You're right, Lily. I never contributed to Henry's small consulting business. But what you don't know is that I've been the primary owner of most of our assets for over 15 years. The money came from my first marriage, and I've been quietly managing it all these years." I then had Robert present the documents that proved my ownership of multiple properties, including a luxury apartment complex in the city and a high-end office building. The looks of shock on their faces were almost comical. Lily stammered, "You can't be serious. This can't be true." I looked at her and said, "I'm very serious. You made assumptions about me, about my worth, and now you're facing the consequences. You have 72 hours to leave my house." The 72 hours that followed were filled with desperate calls and pleas from Lily and Ryan, but I stood firm. I was done being the invisible woman, the one they could take for granted. 6 months later, I was sitting in my garden, enjoying the peace and quiet, when the phone rang. It was the hospital, calling to tell me that Ryan had been in a car accident and was asking for me. I rushed to the hospital, and when I saw Ryan in his hospital bed, he looked broken. "Jennifer, I'm so sorry," he said, tears in his eyes. "I've been living with so much guilt. I should have stood up for you. You were more of a mother to me than my own mother ever was." I took his hand and said, "Ryan, you made a mistake, but I forgive you. I hope you've learned that family isn't about money, but about love and respect." He nodded, and I knew that perhaps there was still hope for our relationship. As for Lily, she'd shown her true colors and burned that bridge. But Ryan and Ava, they still had a chance to be part of my life if they chose to. Now, as I look back on this journey, I realize that sometimes the greatest pain can lead to the greatest growth. I've learned to value myself for who I am, not for what others think of me. And I'm ready to face whatever the future holds, with strength and grace.